Welcome to today's explainer. Have you ever wondered why sitting down to study feels, well, so incredibly hard? Like, why does just opening a textbook sometimes feel like an actual physical weight? Today, we're taking a completely paradigm-shifting look at the hidden forces shaping our habits. We're going to unpack the fascinating brain science behind procrastination and, more importantly, give you the exact tools to finally rewire your ancient brain for modern success. Let's get into it.
Okay, I want you to picture a super familiar scenario. You wake up on a Monday morning, absolute best intentions in mind. You get this massive surge of motivation to just completely change your life. You promise yourself, today is the day. I'm gonna hit the books, I'm gonna exercise, I'm finally gonna build the skills to become the successful student I know I can be. But then, what actually happens? You sit down at your desk, you grab your phone just to check one quick thing, you watch one video and then another, and before you know it, hours have just vanished. By the end of the day, that morning motivation, it's completely replaced by crushing guilt, leaving you asking yourself, why can't I stay disciplined?
Right, so let's dive into this because acknowledging this painful gap between our grand plans and our actual reality is step number one to fixing it. It is incredibly frustrating to watch our solid plan get completely swallowed up by the reality of endless scrolling. But here's the shocking truth we're uncovering today. When you fail to stick to your study plan, the culprit is not laziness. It's really not. It's not a lack of character, and it absolutely doesn't mean you're weak. The real culprit? It's actually your own survival instincts. To understand how to fix this, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the myth of laziness. Second, your ancient survival brain. Third, the modern dopamine hijack. Fourth, designing your study environment. And finally, number 5, how to train with small habits. Starting off with section 1, the myth of laziness. It's not weakness, it's biology. This quote really hits the nail on the head for our entire explainer. Your biggest enemy isn't laziness. It's your brain. You see, your brain wasn't actually designed to make you a successful student. Earning a degree, passing a brutal exam, reading dense textbooks, none of that was on the evolutionary agenda. Your brain was strictly designed to do exactly one thing: keep you alive. And as we're about to see, being a highly productive student and staying alive out in the wild are two very, very different goals.
Which brings us to section 2, your ancient survival brain. Why textbooks actually feel like a threat. 100,000 years. Just wrap your head around that number for a second. Imagine you're an early human living on the savannah 100,000 years ago. Food is incredibly scarce. Predators are hiding literally everywhere. Every single decision you make out there could mean life or death. Your brain's core programming was forged in that exact high-stakes environment. And here's the kicker: that ancient programming is still running your operating system today. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive evolutionary mismatch we're currently dealing with. Your brain is perfectly programmed to handle ancient threats, right? Escaping lions, conserving energy, seeking out scarce food. But your modern reality? It demands sitting at a desk, opening a textbook, and somehow ignoring endless entertainment. Think about it from the perspective of a brain hardwired to save energy for imminent physical survival. Engaging in hours of incredibly hard mental work at a desk is perceived as a dangerous, massive waste of precious calories. You aren't escaping a lion, so why in the world are you burning so much energy? Because of this mismatch, your brain developed one simple golden rule: save energy whenever possible. Running? Only do it if you're escaping actual danger. Working hard? Only if your immediate survival literally depends on it. Otherwise, your brain is going to scream at you to rest, because wasting energy today could mean you don't have enough to survive tomorrow. So you know when you sit down to study and your brain whispers, maybe later. It's not being evil. It literally thinks it's protecting you from starving to death. Let's look at section 3, the modern dopamine hijack. Why scrolling is just so irresistible. Now, to really understand distraction, we have to redefine dopamine. So many of us mistakenly believe dopamine is simply just the pleasure chemical, but that's only part of the story. Dopamine is actually the chemical of anticipation. It's the drive that makes you chase rewards. And what's super interesting about this is how modern technology completely hijacks this anticipation system. Every single notification on your phone, every like, every 15-second video you swipe through, it delivers a tiny, potent burst of dopamine. Your brain is actively being trained to constantly expect quick, effortless rewards. Just compare immediate rewards like social media, video games, grabbing some junk food, with delayed rewards, things like reading, studying, and eventually graduating years down the line. Discipline asks you to wake up early, read a book instead of scrolling, and push through some serious discomfort. But remember, your ancient brain absolutely hates uncertainty and long waits. It looks at the delayed reward of graduating and says, whoa, that future is way too far away. Why suffer now when pleasure is literally in our pocket right this second? It completely rejects the delayed reward of studying in favor of the instant dopamine hit of a phone screen. And here is a pretty hard truth to swallow. Your brain does not care about your dreams of graduating with honors. It cares about familiarity, because familiarity feels safe. Discipline, on the other hand, forces you into uncertainty and discomfort, and your ancient brain interprets that uncertainty as a direct risk to your survival. This is exactly why we stay stuck in bad routines or stay addicted toward distractions. Even if those habits are making you a miserable, stressed-out student, they are predictable. Your brain will almost always choose predictable discomfort over unfamiliar growth simply because it feels safe.
All right, moving on to Section 4, designing your study environment. We need to stop relying on willpower.
This quote right here is the ultimate secret that highly disciplined, successful students understand. Systems beat motivation every single time. Truly disciplined people, they don't just sit around and wait for studying to suddenly feel easy because they know their brain is never going to want to burn those calories. Instead, they engineer their surroundings. They design environments that make good decisions totally automatic and bad decisions really difficult. Basically, they remove the temptation before the survival brain even has a chance to choose it. So, here's how this builds into a super practical 3-step strategy. Step 1, want to read more? Keep your books open right on your desk so it's literally the very first thing you see. Step 2, want to stop scrolling while you're studying? Delete the distracting apps from your phone, or better yet, just leave your phone in another room entirely. Out of sight, out of mind. Step 3, want to exercise before class? Prepare your clothes the night before. By doing all this, you are removing friction. The less your ancient brain has to actively decide in the moment, the less energy it expends, which makes staying disciplined so much easier. Finally, let's hit Section 5, train with small habits. This is how we start rewiring that ancient programming. Now, the goal here isn't to violently fight your brain. It's to gently retrain it. So the crucial point is to start incredibly small. I mean, ridiculously small. Read just 1 page. Do literally 1 push-up. Commit to just 5 minutes of focused study time. Why does this work so well? Because you are lowering the barrier to entry so much that your ancient brain doesn't even perceive the task as an energy-draining threat. A 2-hour study session that sets off massive alarm bells. But reading 1 single page, the brain goes, okay, yeah, that doesn't cost much energy. We can survive that. But here is the absolutely most important part. You have to celebrate every single small victory. Every time you read that 1 page or finish those 5 minutes of focused work, you're teaching your brain something incredibly powerful. You're sending a biological signal that says, hey, this action is safe. Over time, as you consistently prove that studying isn't going to kill you, your brain actually stops resisting. What once felt totally impossible becomes a frictionless, automatic routine. Discipline isn't just something you're naturally born with, it's something your brain learns through small, safe repetitions. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to take this quote to heart. Survival isn't the same as success. Look, your brain has spent hundreds of thousands of years trying to keep you alive, trying to keep you comfortable and energy efficient. But as a student striving for greatness, you want way more than just mere survival. And the most empowering realization is this. Every single time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you delay gratification to study just a little bit more, you are literally rewriting hundreds of thousands of years of evolutionary programming. You're proving to your brain that your future matters so much more than your immediate comfort. So I want to leave you with this final provocative question to take into your very next study session. What is the one habit your brain resists the most right now, and what incredibly small, safe step will you take today to overcome it? Remember, you aren't fighting laziness. You are overcoming ancient survival instincts, and that is a battle you are absolutely capable of winning. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.